Alrighty. So this is a video about this. I recently purchased a MClane edger, and I'm planning on selling it. And I'm not going to be doing a video to see if it runs. I already know it runs. This morning I gave it a good cleaning with a pressure washer. It had a bit of crud on it, and I've got a little video here that I'm going to insert of the inside of the fuel tank. It's a little bit crusty looking, or well, not crusty, but it's a little dirty. There's some stuff in there, so I'm going to see about cleaning that out, and then I'm going to change the oil and give it a lube job, and I think that's about it. I don't even think I'm going to paint it. The paint's in not that bad a condition, and it'd really be kind of pointless. So in that video you saw what it looks like before. And it's let me get some canned air and blow out the there seems to be some fluffy stuff in there. Also, I've got to get out. There's still a little bit of carb cleaner in there. So let's, alright, now we've got video. So, fuel tank looks a little better. Looks like there's a little leaf or something in there. Have to get that out. So, I pulled up the instructions for changing the oil on this thing, and it's kind of humorous. the instructions said to, when you're putting oil in it, to fill it to overflowing. I suppose one should actually be ready to do this, but you know. We'll find out if this even has oil in it, since where I got it from, they require the people to remove the fluids, usually just the gasoline, before they give it to them. I picked up one of these handy dandy little kits. It's an oil change kit. Makes things a whole lot easier because you don't have to try and tip this thing over. You don't have to try and don't really have to do anything other than just pump. There. Let's see what's in here. Oh, there's oil. And the way this thing works is kind of like how a straw works. It creates a suction in this container, and then this tube goes in here, and very much. This one will help if my shop floor was even remotely level. Alright, let's see how much we've got now. I'm going to pause for a little bit and then Just want to verify I've got all the oil out. Okay, so I tipped it forward and I got a little bit more out. The amount I've got out, I have a little mark on this container for 14 ounces, and it's about to that mark. This thing supposedly holds between, it's supposed to hold about 18 to 20 ounces. That's kind of not helpful. So what I'm going to do is I mean, it says you're supposed to fill it to overflowing, but so I've got, based on the specifications given in the manual and the types of the temperatures that we have where I live, the temperature in the winter here rarely gets below 40, and even then not for very long. So I'm going to put straight 30 in this, and we're going to I'm going to measure out approximately, or no, I'm going to measure out 18 ounces of oil, and carefully put that in. When we get close to done, I'll just check and see if it's overflowing, because there may already be some oil in there. I'm just going to carefully pour this in. Keeping an eye out for spillage. If it spills, I'll stop. I kind of have a bone to pick with Briggs & Stratton and their instructions on how much oil. I have a couple of engines that the instructions say in one part of the manual 20 ounces of oil, and in another part it says 18, and in both cases that seems like it's too much. When I run the engines, they smell like they're burning oil. Well, it's not overflowing, so we're gonna give it 2 more ounces. I think we're going to stop there. It's actually just up to the top threads of the oil fill compartment. I originally planned to maybe do a lot more maintenance on this thing, but after I pressure washed it this morning, it was surprisingly in better shape than I thought. And I picked up, you can see, this is, it's not dirty, but it's just colored. So I don't know if it's just really old. This is from 1995, I think. But it actually kind of looks like it didn't get used very much. The only thing I could find wrong with it when I picked it up, or I bought it, after I got it back and I went to start it, the instructions say to move the, come on, there we go, move this all the way forward. You can see that. It says to move the throttle all the way forward. Well, this wouldn't move at all, and I ended up breaking the this piece, and I had to take it apart and fix it. And I had to oil the cable. It was just frozen solid, but a couple of drops of oil on the top, and it just freed right up. So I get the feeling that whoever had this before me, that was it. They couldn't move that, and they just said, "Oh well, I'll just take this $500 piece of equipment, and we'll get a new one." So there's a couple of Zerk fittings on here, and from the look of them, they've never been oiled, because they still have all their original paint on them. I don't know how much you're supposed to put in here. It's definitely taking it. Yeah, I don't think this thing was ever oiled or lubed, because I think I just, by lubing it, there's oil or grease coming out now. Well, that's working. I mean, that blade isn't even hardly been used. I'm really thinking whoever had this barely used it. Oh, it would help if I had located some stuff beforehand. Okay. Let's see what this looks like to me. Not terribly dirty. Let's clean up a little bit. Yeah, the gap is supposed to be 30 thousandths. So I think I could see the top of the cylinder. See what that looks like. That looks pretty clean. I'm really starting to believe this thing got barely used. And the spark plug gap seemed a little tight, but it called for 180 inch-pounds of torque, and when I took it off, it had a whole lot less than that. So I don't know if someone had popped the spark plug off earlier to look at it or check it and never put it back. I think we're going to go test this. So let me get this thing out to the front yard where it'll do some good and get a camera set up, and we'll see how she does. Okay, from the last section of the video I did, it's been about a week and a half. I was originally going to take this and test it and couldn't get it to start. And part of the issue was that the throttle that was on it broke, and the carburetor, that little section right there in the center of the screen, there's a fuel pump in there, and it suctions fuel up out of the gas tank into the carburetor. There's a little, kind of like a bowl, but it's part of the gas tank, and that wasn't doing anything, so there was no gas in the bowl, so it wouldn't start. And I had to buy a kit for the carburetor to do a rebuild. It came with a whole bunch of extra stuff, more stuff than I actually needed, but it came with the diaphragm for that fuel pump. And once I got it all cleaned up, put it back together, it put gas in it, it started right up. So now I'm going to move this thing to the front yard where I'm going to do a real quick edging.